Between recent drone strikes and retaliatory ballistic missile launches, the Middle East is actively exchanging fire. The airspace is saturated, and the situation on the ground is highly volatile. Right in the middle of this regional chaos, an American F-15E multi-role fighter jet is shot down over Iranian territory. The crew ejects, and the pilot is located and rescued within hours. But the second crew member lands miles away, completely stranded deep inside the jagged terrain of the Zagros Mountains. As this cockpit schematic highlights, the missing airman isn't the pilot. He is a Weapons Systems Officer, or WESO. Stationed in the rear seat, a WESO is the flight specialist managing the radar, the navigation, and the targeting systems. He has now wedged into a mountain crevice at 7,000 feet. He has a standard-issue pistol, a basic survival kit, and a $100,000 Iranian bounty on his head. With Iranian search teams closing in and the high-altitude temperatures plummeting, the military calculates a 36-hour window before the WSO is either captured or succumbs to the environment. To beat that clock, they trigger a massive, multi-layered rescue operation. The entire rescue hinges on the stranded airman's ability to stay alive. The military prepares pilots for this exact scenario through SEER: survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. As this timeline breaks down, SEER relies on the rule of 3 to track human physiological limits. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours in the cold, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Applying his pre-planned event plan of action, the WSO prioritizes these limits. He stays entirely hidden during the day and moves strictly under the cover of darkness to evade enemy patrols. From the shadows, he uses a specialized GPS tracker and tight bursts of emergency radio signals to securely ping his exact coordinates to U.S. rescue teams. This discipline is the mandatory first step of any extraction. If the airman doesn't execute his training to stay hidden and alive, the military has no viable target to rescue. Even with the WSO effectively hiding, he is still completely alone. Despite massive, heavily armed search parties and a hefty financial bounty, the Iranian military couldn't locate him. Looking at this map, the CIA launched a deception campaign, intentionally leaking false intelligence about a fake extraction route. This misinformation pulled Iranian search units out of the mountains, sending them rushing in the opposite direction. At the same time, intelligence officers quietly tapped into networks of anti-government civilians operating in the province to muddy the waters even further. Brute military force is useless if the enemy intercepts the target first. Tactical disinformation provides the invisible shield required to make the physical rescue possible. Because the extraction requires a massive fleet to penetrate sovereign Iranian territory during an active conflict, the mission carries a high risk of sparking a total war. This level of escalation requires direct authorization from the commander-in-chief. The airspace floods with U.S. fighter jets, aggressively laying down cover fire to halt Iranian ground troops advancing toward the mountains. Providing this level of close air support takes a massive physical toll. An A-10 Thunderbolt took heavy enemy damage during the firefight, forcing its pilot to eject directly into the Persian Gulf. Down on the ground, the extraction nearly collapsed. The primary rescue helicopter took direct fire, injuring the pilot right as he managed a desperate hard landing near the WSO. The logistical cost kept climbing. 2 U.S. transport planes broke down deep inside Iranian borders. To prevent their technology from falling into enemy hands, U.S. forces deliberately blew them up on the desert floor. A combat search and rescue mission is never a clean, surgical strike. It is a chaotic environment where the military willingly accepts massive equipment loss to secure a single living objective. After 36 hours of tactical evasion and high-stakes combat, the operation succeeds. The WSO is successfully pulled from the Zagros Range and flown across the Gulf to Kuwait for a medical evaluation, and the White House announces he is safe. But looking at the smoking wreckage of transport planes and the injured pilots, the obvious question remains: why risk millions of dollars, multiple aircraft, and a potential regional war just to save one specialist? The precise answer traces back to a foundational military doctrine, which was formally codified in 1955 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. It established a promise ingrained in the code of conduct of every American soldier: I will never leave a fallen comrade behind. From freeing prisoners in the Philippines during World War II to the mass helicopter extractions of Vietnam, the protocol remains rigid. The geopolitics of the Middle East remain completely unstable, but this 36-hour operation proved that no matter the harsh terrain or the staggering cost in machinery, the entire military apparatus is